Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're stepping away from, the usual golden castles and glass slippers.
Definitely leaving those behind.
Yeah, we're heading into much darker, thornier territory. We're doing a deep dive into a specific set of folk stories. These have roots in Zemini, Ravkan, Kerch, and Ferdun traditions.
And the key thing is, they don't just use familiar tropes, they actively take them apart.
Exactly. They look like fairy tales on the surface, don't they? You got quests, monsters, handsome princes.
All the usual suspects. But they're built differently. They're engineered, really, to flip your expectations. Their goal seems to be exposing some pretty cynical, sometimes, frankly terrifying truths.
Truths about what? Human nature,
Ambition.
all of that. And power. Things that the classic versions tend to gloss over or just ignore completely.
Okay, so our mission today. Let's try and unpack the common threads here. How did these stories from all these different places consistently make us rethink who the heroes and villains actually are?
And how they often show that the real monsters, sometimes they're the ones wearing the crown. Right, let's get into it. We should probably start with Ayama and the Thorn Wood. It just immediately throws that Cinderella idea out the window.
Oh, completely. The description of Ayama is so unromantic. It says she's clumsy, solid, and flat-footed.
Yeah, short and round as a beer jug, and her voice is harsh enough to make you wince. Zero fairy tale vibes there.
She's basically the anti-heroine from page 1. And the world around her reinforces it. Her own grandmother, Mazil, tells her flat out, "Interesting things only happen to pretty girls. You will be home by sunset."
Ouch. So her value is purely practical, right?
Yeah.
Because she's not conventionally beautiful.
Exactly. Destiny is for the pretty ones, apparently.
And then you have the monster. Seems pretty standard at first glance. The king's son, born wolf-like, black fur, red eyes, horns.
The whole package, so scary. The king locked him away in this enormous, dangerous labyrinth. People apparently got lost just building the thing.
Okay, so far, so fairy tale. But then comes the twist.
Right, here's the big subversion. The beast escapes, and suddenly herds are being slaughtered, crops destroyed. Everyone naturally blames the furry, horned escapee.
Makes sense. Visible monster, visible damage.
But then the story just drops this bombshell. It was the king himself doing it all along.
Wait, the king? Why?
To create a diversion, he manufactured this whole false villain scenario to distract people from the fact that his kingdom was failing, he was losing wars, and he was hiking taxes like crazy.
Wow, that's incredibly cynical. So the real monstrosity isn't the beast's appearance, it's the king's political manipulation.
Precisely. It's calculated state deception. The king, terrified of losing power, he's the actual beast in the story.
Ayama. She didn't follow the script either, does she? She doesn't kill the beast.
No, that's what's so brilliant. She wins by telling him stories. Just stories. But they're so honest, so raw. They make him feel more than anger. Her weapon isn't a sword, it's radical truth-telling.
That storytelling aspect feels crucial. The first tale she tells him, it ends on such a dark note, accepting that some people just have this piece of night inside that can't be filled. No easy answers.
And that honesty works better than any magic spell. But the final payoff, the real spectacle, is Ayama's own transformation when she goes back to court.
Right. She confronts the king.
I mean, becomes something terrifying herself. Forked tongue, opal eyes, hair like fire. She completely owns the monster label the world tried to stick on her and turns it back on the king.
Declaring she'd rather love an honest monster than a treacherous king, that's powerful.
It really is. And the king. He ends up trapped in the very labyrinth he built, the ultimate irony.
Yeah.
And the people. They start praying for sons with red eyes and daughters with horns. They've totally rejected the official story. Power redefined.
Okay, that shift from like the shiny surface of a ruler to the corruption underneath. It leads us nicely into the next theme, doesn't it? These traps that aren't about outside evil, but about inner needs. Loneliness, desire.
Yeah, exactly. Let's look at the Ravkan tale. The too clever fox, Kocha.
Right, the fox, whose whole deal is being smart. He survives his awful mother, a dog attack. Cleverness is his shield.
It's his only defense, really. He's an outcast. But his Achilles heel, the thing he hasn't armored himself against, is just simple human kindness. Or the appearance of it.
And that's the trap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sophia, the hunter's sister, she seems lovely, kind.
Uh-huh. But she's the real predator. And notice how she traps him. It's not with food, the obvious lure for an animal.
No, she offers him a story, a connection. She builds trust, gets past his cleverness.
And then when she's skinning him, it's brutal. She has this chilling line. It's not just gloating, it's almost philosophical. She says, "It is always the same trap. The trap is loneliness, and none of us escapes it."
Oof. That line is just devastating.
Mm-hmm.
Because she saw his real vulnerability wasn't physical, it was emotional.
Exactly. She understood his deepest need, the one he probably didn't even understand himself.
It completely reframes survival, doesn't it? It's not just about being smart or strong. If you need connection, you're vulnerable. That
Yeah.
feels deeply true, even outside of the story.
We see a similar idea, maybe even darker, in the Kirch tale, the soldier prince, the nutcracker, Joseph.
Ah, the Nutcracker, but this isn't the ballet version.
Not even close. Here, he's literally manufactured by Drosin, the clocksmith, who's described as a lesser demon. And Joseph wasn't made for love or companionship?
No, he was made to be a tool, right, a spy,
Yeah.
to find out Clara's secrets for Drosin.
Yeah. And his origin story is just horrific. Drosin admits he was a baby stolen from a foundling home, fed on sawdust, pieced together with wood and metal.
Just awful. And Drosin throws it in his face. You were my messenger, my spy, and nothing more.
Right.
Basically saying you were never alive, you were just equipment.
But then, the way the Nutcracker achieves actual life, it's amazing. It's not a magic kiss. It's not fighting back physically.
What is it then?
It's an act of pure will, self-definition. He chooses his identity. He looks at Drosin, this cruel maker, and declares him his loving father.
He calls Drosin his loving father, the guy who just called him a tool.
Exactly. He insists Drosin gave him life with genuine love. He forces this narrative onto Drosin.
Wait, so how does that work as magic? Is it like he speaks it into existence?
It seems like it's about asserting his truth so powerfully it changes reality. By forcing Drosin into the role of loving father, a role Drosin completely rejects because he only saw Joseph as a thing, that assertion somehow breaks Drosin.
Breaks him out.
Drosin literally becomes the thing he valued the Nutcracker as. Just an object. He collapses into a small wooden toy on the floor. The Nutcracker rewrote their whole reality just by defining himself and his creator on his own terms. Desire and naming become the magic.
Wow, that power of self-definition. It's a stark contrast to some of the other tales where ambition seems to lead to much more physically destructive outcomes, like the Witch of Duva.
Right. In Duva, Nadia thinks the danger is Magda, the classic witch in the woods figure, the gingerbread house setup.
Standard trope, but following the pattern here, that's not the real threat.
No. The immediate, obvious danger is just a distraction. The horrifying truth is that the real monster was her own father, Maxim.
Her father, what was he doing?
Driven by famine, by sickness. He was the one killing the village girls who went missing, Lara, Janechka, hiding their remains under the floorboards of their own house. The monster was inside the home all along.
It's incredibly dark. And what about the stepmother, Karina, the one who seemed so evil?
Another inversion. She wasn't trying to harm Nadia at all. She figured out what Maxim was doing and was desperately trying to save Nadia by driving her away. Remember her line? I will warn you just this once. Go.
She was trying to protect her.
Yes. And later, it's implied she essentially sacrifices herself to Maxim, her husband, the monster, hoping it might keep him from harming Nadia. It just proves her earlier point in the story. Bad fates do not always follow those who deserve them. The person who looked evil was actually the most self-sacrificing.
Just tragic. The complexity is staggering.
And that tragic complexity leads us straight into When Water Sang Fire. This is a Sheridan tale about the Silderher, the sea folk.
Okay. And this one focuses on ambition.
Very much so. It follows Ula, a young Silderher girl. She's an outsider because nobody knows her origins. Her skin is gray, not like the others. She desperately wants to be accepted, specifically as a court singer.
That outsider status, again, makes her vulnerable.
Definitely. She eventually learns the truth. She's half mortal, taken from the shores a baby by her Silderher father, compelled by a magic bell. So she doesn't fully belong anywhere.
And someone exploits that vulnerability, I'm guessing.
Of course. Prince Raffle. He's low-ranking but ambitious. He sees Ula's desperation for status and her friend Signy's longing for love and manipulates them both.
How? What does he make them do?
He sends them on this quest, create a flame that can burn underwater. Sounds magical, right? But Raffle knows secretly it requires blood magic. Human lungs, specifically.
Oh, God. So he's using them as pawns to get power, and the cost is horrific.
Exactly. And the climax is just brutal. Ula succeeds, performs the song, creates the flame, but Raffle puts Signy in an impossible position.
What's the choice?
Stand with Ula, who committed the blood magic, even unknowingly at first, and face the consequences. Or betray Ula and become Raffle's queen.
And Signy.
Signy chooses safety. She chooses power. She tries I cannot lose everything and hands over the magical key, the Psyker knife, to Raffle, condemning Ula.
So the ultimate betrayal comes from the friend, not just the ambitious prince.
Yes, the story really emphasizes that moment of fear and self-preservation leading to betrayal. Signy's choice is devastating.
And what happens to Ula?
Ula, burned, betrayed. She finds her power not in getting accepted, but in rage. Pure, righteous fury. She smashes this viewing mirror and somehow gathers the reflections of infinite ruined girls, all the other betrayed, marginalized figures, into the shards.
Yeah, mate.
She weaves all that collective pain and anger into a storm, a world-changing storm that literally breaks the land apart, forming the islands they call Kenstjerte.
The broken heart.
Wow.
Wow. So the consequences of that ambition, that fear, that betrayal, they literally reshape the world.
Yeah. The price was etched onto the map.
What an incredible set of stories. This deep dive really shows how consistently they tear down those easy narratives.
Yeah, the thread connecting them all seems to be don't trust the surface. Whether it's the king playing the villain game, or the pretty girl being the predator, or the stepmother being the savior.
It's about looking past the easy labels.
Exactly. They throw out the simple, good devil, beautifully, luggily binaries. Instead, you get these really complex motivations, and they feel very human even when they're applied to monsters or Silverher. Fear, loneliness, ambition, these are the drivers.
And the magic, if you can call it that, often isn't about spells, it's more internal.
Right. It's about asserting your truth, naming yourself, like the Nutcracker declaring his identity, or Ayama embracing her monstrousness to expose the king. That's where the real power seems to lie.
It definitely makes you look differently at any story you're told, doesn't it? In books, in the news. Who's the false villain being presented, and what might the person in power really be up to?
It's a healthy dose of cynicism, maybe, or realism.
Yeah. And as we wrap up, maybe something to leave you, the listener, thinking about. There's a line from another tale in this world. Little Knife. The river spirit lover tells the traveler, to use a thing is not to own it. And should you ever take a bride, listen closely to her questions. In them you may hear her true name.
Like the thunder of a lost river, like the sighing of the sea. It's beautiful.
It is. So the thought is, what's the true name, the hidden desire, tucked away inside the questions the people around you are asking? Something to mull over until our next deep dive.